Hey everybody, welcome back to Steve's Garage. Another beautiful day here in Western Mass. It's raining like hell. It's April 3rd and it's cold. And we got a little snow coming tonight. So I guess in the hill towns, not where I am. I'm in the lower valley. And we're just going to get a little dusting. But it'll be gone quick. Nothing's frozen. So supposed to be in the 60s next week. And I'm looking forward to that. Get back in the gardens. So on my last video, I showed you the fine art of woodworking where we put an applique on the side of this bookshelf that we repurposed some wood and we did cattails on both sides and spin it around and a matching set on this side. And I got to tell you, I couldn't be happier with that. That's cool. It just adds life to this piece. And again, what we've made is, now we've made an heirloom. It's not just a bookshelf. It's something that, when I think about things like this, you think, well, it's going to go through our lifetime. And then, like everybody, we all wind up in the great white north sometime. And these things, who knows where they go? They travel, So this piece may wind up slowly, 1,000 miles from here, and 100 years from now be in someone else's house. And I like to think about that these things will last because they're, it's something that's made of, it's a quality piece and it's an art piece and it's desirable, I think. So, hopefully a few hundred years from now, this will still be around. But I don't like it. Why don't I like it, you say? I just think it's a little, I don't know what the word is, but I think it's a little clean for my liking. I think we have to age it a little bit and just make it one more step to make it a little more interesting. So in this video, I'm going to show you how I will age this piece and make it look like it's been around for 100 years already. So when you have fresh paint, and I'm considering this fresh paint because it's, within a couple of weeks old. And the thing about latex paint is latex. What is latex? Latex is a plastic. So this paint basically is plastic. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to knock down these edges and expose the wood underneath. And then we're going to put stain over that wood. And then we're going to put a clear poly on top of that. And I'm going to use a polyacrylic, which is a water-based poly. And it's really great stuff. I mean, you put it on floors. I use it on all the furniture I build. And I mean, I'm tough on my stuff. I go in with my work boots at lunchtime and I'll sit on the couch and have a sandwich and put my feet up on the coffee table I made. And with my work boots still on and that coffee table, you look at it now, it looks the same as when I built it, And that's the way we are. We live in our house, Don't take our shoes off and run around in our socks. We keep on moving. Clean the floors, that's all you got to do. So, without any further ado, let me show you what we're going to do here. All right, thanks for coming back. By the way, we're getting more subscribers. Just enjoying what we're doing here. Hopefully you're learning something. This is the way I do it. It's not necessarily the recommended way or the right way. I don't know. But it's what I've been doing for years and years and years, and we were successful at it. So let's keep going. So what I'm going to do is take my air sander, and I've got a piece of used sandpaper on it because you don't want to be too aggressive with your sandpaper. This is 220, and see if we can get a little closer look for you here. And what I'm going to do is knock down these edges so the wood shows that's underneath, and we will, and then sand that. So we're going to make it look like, if your hands rub this side or your books went in and out of here and wore this down. Think of how the wear would be, heavy on the corners and all that. So let me turn this down. So like I said, you don't want to sand aggressively and heat up the paint. Because if you heat up the latex paint, it will melt and leave a horrible look. It won't look like natural wear. It'll look like, it's melted. It's hard to explain, but from, a lot of experience doing this stuff, there was an era, back in the, the maybe in the 2000s, the early 2000s here, that people wanted this like French provincial, really worn down wood look, and we put multiple layers of paint on it, and it really was cool. But so I did a lot of this, so we get the hang of it. So here we go. I'm double checking that that's a feathered edge and not a well of paint that's melted down. And don't have an even line, because it's going to wear differently where people hit, and a little harder maybe where their shoes were. And as simple as that, we've got most of it. So I'm going to consider that it. So now you can see the way I hit these corners, the top, these edges here, on the edges here. This will also give me an opportunity to get some polyurethane on these sides, which is just raw wood. And I wanted to poly, but then they're going to have to detail that in. This is going to make me be a little sloppier and make it easier in the long run. Again, there's the edges, So now we're going to clean that up. Let me get back a little further for you. I'm going to clean that up. And what we'll do is we'll take the blower Clean that sucker off. Now we're going to take some poly. I'm just going to have to pause you for 1 second and get the polyurethane out, or the stain out. Hang on. All right, so I've got my stain out, and I always, when I use a white like this, and I use a golden oak. It's a very light stain. It's just enough to give you some color and not be too crazy. And I use 2 different rags, a dry rag and one for wet. So what we're going to do is we're going to put the stain on and take it off all in the same time frame. We're not going to put it on and leave it on. We're just going to put it on and take it right back off. I've got gloves on for my semi-permeable membrane. You don't want to be handling stain and let it soak into your skin, make you any crazier than you already are. So we're just taking that stain and wiping it on. We're going to wipe it on the whole surface. So it'll actually stain the paint a little bit also. And kind of gives it a, aged look, like it's been hanging in grandma's house. Old grandpa was smoking cigars around it for years. And that's it. I'm trying to stay out of your way, but it's hard to do. Let me get this over here. Now the stain will stay wet for a while, so you don't got to worry about running right in and wiping it down immediately. Grandpa and cigars. I have an oil painting that was in my family for years, and I took it to Williamstown Conservatory and had it, they cleaned it, and they said it was covered with cigar smoke and old coal, because everybody used coal back in those days. So the coal smoke and dust really made things dirty. So all we're doing is we've stained it, and we're wiping that stain back off. We're not leaving puddles of it or nothing. We're just taking it right off. And I'm not going inside the bookcase box itself. It's just a bunch of work you don't need to do. Work smarter, not harder, people. This is very simplistic, and it's a really cool aging technique. They use it on cabinets all the time. Just got to watch out areas you're not going to see all the time to make sure you're not getting any fingerprints on it. So now that's the front of it. Doesn't look like much, but it definitely darkened up that wood grain that's showing. That's maple, so that's a very hard wood. So that doesn't absorb a lot of stain, but it definitely ages it well. So now I'm going to back up a little bit so you can see me do the cattails. And I'm just adjusting my tripod here. It's a never-ending game of moving around. So let's do the cattails, and we're going to see how it's going to really make these things pop. So it's going to darken that up. Look at that. And darken up just the way we want to see it. And darken everything up and make that pop. I'm going to stain the whole thing here. Just hammer it on there. Don't dilly-dally. Again, in that last video I told you, speed is what you need to be doing in this stuff. Get in these cracks in here, so those will fill up. And again, it looks like wear and tear. This is years of hanging out in grandma's living room, and you're inheriting it. And this thing is now 100 years old. And take and just wipe it right back off. Get right to it. Like I said, don't dilly-dally. I have a friend of mine's daughter who we love. Painted her, got a brand new front door they had put in. And, you know, she's very handy and wanted to, you know, told her mother, I'll paint it for you. And, but she didn't have a lot of experience and wound up getting into trouble because she dilly-dallied. With paint, you got to keep on moving. So when she came back, she painted the door, and then she went back and, tried to touch it up. And what it does is it looks like wind going across water. It grabs that paint and like skips across it in these drag lines, and asked me what I thought. And I said, well, what I think is you have to sand the whole door down and start over. You have to work quickly with paint, get it on, get a lot on there. You have to put a lot of paint on, more than you might think. And, not so much where you're going to have runs, but somewhere in the middle there. And it will then puddle and smooth out, but you can't go back and touch it. You have to, if you're going to paint it again, you have to go back afterwards. So that doesn't look like much, but it put some nice color in that. And now, the reeds, what I'm calling the reeds here, the whatever you want to call that holds those cattails up, the stem, has some nice color in it. So let's pop the other side. And again, always be aware when you move it. Now go back and look and see if you have fingerprints on there, because those fingerprints will dry up and stay right on there. You notice I keep on checking. And now we'll do this side. See if we're still in the frame. Yep. And I buy this by the gallon. You want to buy a quart, because we used a ton of this stain when we were doing all these cabinets we were building back in the day. And a gallon goes a long way. But if you're doing a little thing, let's get a quart. And of course, the price of stains now and all this stuff had gone through the roof. When I was younger, we were paying $25 for a gallon of stain. Now you're paying like $30 for a quart. Just crazy. Crazy. The price of everything has gone through the roof, Sky's the limit. I guess they aren't kidding. So don't put your snow shovels away yet, fellas. I say we're getting a little more tonight. In the high terrain, they're saying several inches. I don't know what several inches is up there, but I'm glad we're not getting it. So again, do one side at a time, because you can feel it dragging. It wants to dry up. Of course, I have radiant heat here, which means that I have heat in my floor, so it's just hot. It's dry. You know what I mean? We're very dry in here, so things dry very quickly. It came in really handy back when we were spraying cabinets in here. Boy, you put a coat on, and by the time you got to the end of the row, the first side was pretty much dry. So you could spray, go to lunch, come back, and give another coat of spray. So it was very handy. Got things done quickly. So that is, again, I'm keeping an eye on that top. This is where everyone's going to see. So that is that side. Nice. There's the front. Make sure we got no fingerprints on it. And that's that. All right, so I'm going to pause, and we're going to get some polyacrylic out. All right, so it's just gone a few minutes there, and I've got a polyacrylic polyurethane here. I'm not advertising for these guys by any means, made by Minwax, but this stuff here is a miracle. I mean, it's great stuff. We use it on all our cabinet finishes. Like I said, I've made a lot of furniture. We use it on that. And it's hard as a rock when it dries, and it's water cleanup. So you don't need chemicals or any of that. So, it's really good stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a coat on here. I'm going to coat everywhere. I'll coat the whole top, and I'll coat the face frame. I'm not going to coat inside where the books will go. And that's that. So we can get a coat of polyacrylic on here very quickly. And this stuff, like I said, by the time I get to the other side, this side will be dry. But what it does is it's going to give me a nice coating. This is a semi-gloss, and it's going to make all these features that we put on here stand out. And it'll also creep under that wood, wherever any of that wood is raised up a little bit, and it will act as a glue in a way, although everything is glued in here. And like I've said many times already, move your butt. Keep all your brush strokes going in one direction, I should say, and keep moving. Because this stuff, like I said, is a water base and it dries very quickly. So now you can see that there's a little bit of a shine on there. This is a semi-gloss, and really going to bring this to a nice furniture grade. All right, I'm going to get back here, and I'm going to get moving here. And then what I'll do afterwards is I'll go over this with a 220 and just knock anything that's high down, and then I'll give it a second coat, and we'll call it done. I'm only going to show one coat to you guys. That's all you need to see. And again, this is real time, so this video is only going to be like a half hour or so long, but I'm just trying to show you in real time that this stuff can be done quickly. You don't have to, you can't look at these projects and be overwhelmed. It's like, it's so simple. Again, I've got years of experience, but there's really nothing to it, So I'm trying to encourage you to do a project. I'm just going inside that frame. Now, if this was for a client, this is a money thing or whatever, if this is a freebie for my friend, I would spray this, and I already would have had a coat on it. And by spraying it, it even dries faster. It just really dries quickly. Retrace those things. You want your center rails, you want your brush strokes going this direction, and your end rails just go right past that. And that's that. Don't want any drag marks. Now, as I told you, I'm looking at the camera to see where you are. This here is already dry to the touch. So that's how quickly this stuff dries. And don't worry about it. Just do it. Don't overthink it. It actually goes on in a milky, it's like a milky white, and it dries perfectly clear. I don't know how they make it, what magic goes into it, but it's really wonderful stuff. And I keep my brush pretty wet, but not enough to show that you're going to have drips, but you keep it wet and you keep moving. So when I'm done, this whole panel is pretty much wet. But you see, we just did that in a couple of minutes, if that, maybe a minute and a half. And that's done. That's it. So, as you can, if I can show you in the can here, it's, without spelling it, it's white. Now when it dries, it's crystal clear. So there you have it. We have antiqued one family heirloom. Looks like it's been used. Gives it some character. And you think that it's, 100 years old already. So we're at the 27-minute mark. Thanks everybody for coming back. Do yourself a favor and make something. You'll feel better about yourself. It's a lot of fun. It's good therapy and gets you out of the house, away from the TV and the phone. So, hey, thanks for coming back. Have a great day. Going to be beautiful weather next week here in New England, and we'll get in the gardens. So, have a good one, guys. See you soon.